Welcome back. Here we are. Slightly new angle today. Thought I'd try something different. I actually, you've probably noticed this, but I actually sit on the floor when I film my other ones, and for longer videos it can get quite uncomfortable, so I'm sitting in a chair like a normal person would. We've got a bit of greenery, and we've got, more importantly, a whole stack of records, new vinyl finds. And it's a, people say a mixed bag all the time, but this is truly a mixed bag of records in terms of genre and geographical location, and yeah, all over the place, You always know what it's like with me, I suppose. I've always got a million different things that I pick up here and there, different genres, new and old. Sometimes, I wish I was just a Smiths collector or something like that, I mean, what is it the Smiths fans are? I feel like Smiths, there's a lot of like hardcore Smiths collectors who have to get every 12-inch. At least I would have like a checklist of things to pick up. At least I could, focus on a list, or say if I only collected krautrock or something like that, it would feel a lot easier and more attainable. But I just seem to be pulling from everywhere, and I don't always cross off, big want listers. Anyway, what was I? Well, this is what happens. I get distracted by talking to you guys, but in reality, I'm just talking to myself. Yeah, so it's Sunday morning. It is absolutely freezing cold and raining and grey. So this is a very comfortable video. As you can see, I'm wearing a big thick jumper, and in response to Champ Sound, Andrew wearing his Bolton shirt. Here's my Bradford City shirt, which is the team I support. This morning I woke up early and watched the Champions League final. Shame about the score there. It was, I won't say anymore. I mean, that goal by Bale was amazing. It's a weird game, a game of mistakes and brilliance. But that's football, that's what they say. Anyway, enough about sport. I've got a lot to get through, so I shouldn't be chatting away. If you can hear a rumbling in the background, that's my washing machine, which I think is about to finish. And when it goes off, it creates like the most happy beeping tune ever. You'll hear what I mean. I think it's a Japanese washing machine. If it goes off, you'll hear what I mean. I think I'm about to sneeze. Okay, so this is a 2018 reissue on Branch Records of Vashti Bunyan's Just Another Diamond Day. This was originally released on Philips in the UK on a, it's obviously to get original pressings are just thousands of dollars. This is a new reissue, which according to the internet sounds a whole lot better than the reissue from, I think there's a Four Men with Beards, and there's one before that, but this is the brand new reissue. Wonderful gatefold. They've done a really nice job on this. It comes with a inner sleeve with all the credits and thank yous and lyrics and stuff like that. For anyone that doesn't know this record, this is a really sort of pastoral folk record. Songs about, I guess, sheep and animals and like a farm lifestyle. There's songs about forests and sunshine, and she sort of sings lyrics in a very, I want to say innocent and observational kind of way. Some of the songs sound like children's songs. Some of the songs are sang along to sort of like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and that sort of vein. But I mean, I guess a lot of UK folk or folk music comes from children's songs, and there's a bit of an interconnectedness there with that. But that's why here anyway. Just songs about the importance of the environment and the beautifulness of I guess, Mother Nature, really. So that's that. That sounded pretty good. I just made all that up on the spot as it came to me from what I heard. I hope that wasn't a planned thing. I feel like that sounded quite convincing. Alright, that's one down of like 30 to go. You're going to be here a while. I'm going to be here a while. Out on Highways. This is the Light in the Attic reissue of the soundtrack to the movie. I say movie, it's probably more of a documentary called Heartworn Highways. It's a documentary that was recorded, filmed. I hate using the word, but it's vaguely referred to as the outlaw country sort of scene around Guy Clark, who had I think he had a house, and lots of people used to gather around and play and learn from him and stuff like that. But yeah, this is an amazing sounding reissue on Light in the Attic. I've watched the first half of the documentary. I haven't watched the whole thing, but the bit that strikes me was to be able to see these guys playing these songs on a camera, to be able to see how they do it. I mean, there's an amazing clip of the track by bloody hell, Larry John Wilson on here. I'm not going to pronounce, what is it? Ohu Hippie, that's not pronounce it. Ohu Hippie. Maybe I'll edit this bit out. Jesus Christ, how can I even pronounce that? It's not even Ohu Hippie. I can pronounce like native Maori words here, no problem with, which has a whole bunch of symbols, but then something spelled O-H-O-O-P-E-E, Ohu Hippie. Ohupi, river bottomland. The rest of this video can just be, saying variations on the spelling. It's track 3. That's not even a hard word to pronounce, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, so you've got Guy Clark on here, Steve Earle, Townes Van Zandt, Larry John Wilson, who I just mentioned before. I said Guy Clark, didn't I? I've got a copy of Old Number 1 by Guy Clark coming in the mail, which I'm very excited to receive, and that'll be very cool. David Allen Coe. What really got me about this one is the song Bluebird Wine by Rodney Crowell. Now, I've known that track for ages, but I've known it as an Emmylou Harris song. She obviously covered it. I didn't know it was written by Rodney Crowell, and when I heard the original, I was like, wow, this is really breathtaking. Very different versions, but really enjoyable. But yeah, this is a great way. This was a great way. Is a great way for me to sort of get my handle around a lot of these artists that were in this vague term of outlaw country, I suppose is what you call it. It comes with this amazing booklet, which is so helpful to read and understand. But yeah, I mean, it's before I knew about this, which I didn't know about this a year ago, I was looking for something like this. So I started through a combination of Zach's videos and YouTube and picking up a couple of Townes Van Zandt records. And watching a bit of the Heartworn Highways. I was looking for some sort of document where I could learn about this, and I couldn't really find anything particular. I was looking at people's VC videos, and then when I saw the record, I was like, okay, this is what I'm looking for, something where I can listen to each artist. And I've said in previous videos I'm not a fan of compilations, but I can understand, how this could be important now. That's great. All right, 2LP. Sounds wonderful. I know Anthony said to me he's had the CD for years, and that's an audiophile's wet dream. Well, the record sounds really good. It's just one of those things where the CD, I imagine, would be absolutely dead mint in terms of quality. Where with this, you could get some crackles and stuff like that. Anyway, keep going, moving on quicker. Okay, this record here is a record that's been on my radar for ages. I should say, I was going to say this earlier, but it's New Zealand Music Month at the moment. So New Zealand Music Month, I've talked about before, is I suppose a conscious effort by musicians and music lovers in New Zealand to promote New Zealand music. A lot of people in vinyl New Zealand groups post New Zealand records. I sort of make a conscious effort to pick up more New Zealand records that I want in the month. Bands put on more gigs than normal, artists try and release things targeted around New Zealand Music Month. So there's about 7 or 8 New Zealand records in this pile. That's how cold it is, my warm hands on the sleeve. This is a really cool record that a lot of you guys would like, because it's an experimental record. It's barely jazz. It's avant-garde, lots of heavy percussion and drone sounds. the guy here, Richard Nuns, is an expert. I think he's even a professor on traditional Maori instrumentation. So you get some really interesting stuff. Jeff Henderson, doesn't say his name on the front, but here he plays. He is known here as a saxophone player, a free jazz saxophone player, but he plays all other sounds. It's really hard to describe what this is, but it's yeah, I guess avant-garde, experimental, percussive bits of drone, but with traditional Maori instrumentation mixed in, which makes it to me a completely unique record. Something that's, you can only get in New Zealand, really. You can get this online, and I do really recommend it. You can even listen to it online. It's not a tough listen, but it's definitely a bit out of the ordinary, And this is on Rattle Records, which is a New Zealand jazz label, and they've done a really good job with it. It sounds incredible. It really jumps out of the speakers. Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's a record that I've been meaning to get for ages and ages and ages, and I just never got around to it. And it was there on Records Today, 20% off, and I just grabbed it. Fugazi, Steady Diet of Nothing. I'm going to start speaking through these. This is an original pressing on Discord. I managed to pick up an original copy of In on the Killtaker 2 to upgrade my reissue, so I won't show that, but yeah, this is a wonderful one to add to the Fugazi thing. I think I've got the first 4 now. I don't know, I enjoy them all, but do I need to get them all? What can I say about this? It's just Fugazi, absolutely punchy rhythm section, great bass playing. Big fan, and absolutely, iconic cover. Look at that. Long Division, I think, is the most well-known track of this. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. Brian Eno. This is Discreet Music. This is the, I think I'm just missing music for films now, and I pretty much have everything until the end of the Ambient series and just after that. I'm pretty sure that's it now. I've got The Pearl, I've got Evening Star. Yeah, anyway, so this was missing for me for a long time, and I was stoked to find an original pressing on Obscure Music, which is Brian Eno's label. And yeah, this is, with Brian Eno, this is the first example where he starts talking about using ambient music as a way to fill a space or add atmosphere or add ambience to a room, rather than being specifically compositionally or musically driven. It's more about adding a feeling to a space. The cool thing about this is, which I was really happy, is this is the original document or statement. The perils of sitting on a chair is everything can slide away from you. I don't care in this video. I'm feeling very relaxed. This is the original statement, Ambient. His name is Eno. Ambient put out. I'm losing it. I feel like this video is going down the drain pretty quickly. Talking about ambient music. This is the first reference where he uses the word ambient music to describe talking about his music and what he's trying to do, which is really cool. It's definitely worth a read. There you go. Discreet Music, yeah, wonderful. I think it was recorded around the time he was, oh my god, when he was working with Scratch Orchestra. And if you read his biography, that will make sense. I feel like I'm not talking very clearly or consistently in this video. Now, these two are the highlights of the video for me. I received some really generous VCLT from one of my favourite VC members. I've got no shame in saying that. That's John in the UK, John Downing, a 6-inch pianist, 317. I'm pretty sure it's 317. Decided that he was going to send me this record here, which, as you know, if you know this, it's probably very hard to get now. It's been repressed, but this is a first pressing of Wildflower, the wonderful spiritual jazz record out of the UK. I'm honoured that I got sent this, and the record is equally as amazing. I listened to it online a while ago, and it was on my radar. and I'm listening to it now on vinyl at home, and I'm like, this should have been my number one. You know, this should have been when it came out. It's amazing. It's an amazing trio record. It's great. It's really great. I'm just smiling thinking about it because I really want to play it. But John sent me this really wonderful personal letter that I'm not going to read it out to you, but it really made me smile. So John, I just want to say thank you. You've inspired me to go and order the rest of the ill-considered records. This is a first press of Live at the Crypt Part 2. I'm now going to have to track down Part 1. Yeah, wow. This one, I want to say it's even better than Wildflower. It's different, but it's really fantastic. The grooves and the bass playing on this thing is absolutely amazing. You can still, they're getting repressed, and you can order them on Bandcamp. There's no talk of how long they're going to be, you know, how long the wait's going to be, but highly recommend them. You know, these guys are like the buzzword of the VC at the moment. I mean, UK jazz is the whole. For me, it's the story of this year and last year in terms of new jazz music coming out. It's just all bubbling out. I mean, it's been going back, you know, for the past couple of years. It's been building and building and building, and now it's really coming to the surface, I suppose. I always talk about this gig, but I saw Shabaka Hutchins play here last year with a friend, and that was, you know, technically it wasn't his gig. He came on as a special guest at a like an Afro beat thing I was at, and he just wiped the floor with everybody. And you know, that's when I first, you know, properly took note of the guy, because I could tell by his playing that he's a talent, and he's obviously got his fingers in a lot of pies. You know, he's involved in Sons of Kemet. He has Shabaka and Ancestors. He's a big member of The Comet Is Coming. He's got solo stuff. He's in 2 other bands, and I've completely forgotten who he's in. He's involved with a lot. He's really sort of one of the figureheads behind this, you know, the UK thing at the moment. Anyway, I'm getting to the point where I almost can't keep up with the UK stuff. I seem to be, you know, adding more and more to my Spotify every day. It's an amazing thing, but it can be expensive. Anyway, moving on. Massive thank you to John. John said he sent me these, you know, to say thank you for my podcast, which he really enjoys watching. He doesn't enjoy watching it; he enjoys listening to it, which was really nice. It meant a lot to get such positive feedback on the podcast, because that's something new and different I'm trying with my friend Dan, and that's our joint thing, and that's like a passion project at the moment. So it was very nice, you know, obviously doing this is something I do a lot, but to get you know, someone said that they really enjoyed the podcast side of things is really special. I don't know how to describe it, because it's different. I'm trying something different, and you know, it's nice to see someone loves that. So thank you, John. I've got to speed this up. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, let's talk more records. Rotate the completed rotations of the rotate the completer. This is a really strange New Zealand record. It was put out on Rotario Records out of Minneapolis in the US, but this is just a fucking weird record. It's like country and rockabilly samples skewed into like a really psychedelic mix of just weird fucking shit. Like it's definitely an obscurity. It's definitely a tough listen. I won't play that very often. The artwork is really cool. The inner thing contains, here he is, here's the guy. This is like a private press wet dream. There's a recipe here on the back to make scrumpkin, which is a made up, it's not really made up, a meal. Fucking weird. So I think the guy plays a lot of it himself, but he uses samples too. Out of Tauranga, which is like a port town on the coast of New Zealand here. It's fucking weird. I don't know how it got put out on the US label Rotario, because they put out a lot of really interesting stuff. I think they put out Joe McPhee, possibly. I don't know. Anyway, weird. This was a Grail. I say a Grail. It's not expensive. It's not crazy expensive, but I just hadn't picked it up, and it's been on my want list for a very long time. So it was a considered Discogs purchase. This is a really wonderful Swedish prog record. Look at that artwork on the back. I guess I say prog, it's actually more progressive, and it's done with like sort of, I guess, more folk instruments, or it comes from a folk place, but they're playing in a prog style. I love this artwork. I think it's beautiful. In fact, I love it so much I'm going to make this the thumbnail of the video, so if I hold it up like this and smile vaguely at the camera, or I look at the record, it becomes the thumbnail. I'm in a very silly mood today. Arthur Brown, the crazy bit of Arthur Brown. Anthony pushed me to get this. Here we go, this is a dishwasher, the washing machine. Can you hear that? It's like the happiest tune, and it will go for like 5 minutes. Okay, Arthur Brown. Anyway, Iggy and the Stooges, Raw Power, I did a trade, and I got this record. This is an original US pressing. I'm absolutely over the moon with that, because it's just stupid how much they go for these days to get a decent copy. The record is near mint, and it comes with the inner sleeve, you know, which is just the absolutely iconic image there. Been a white whale for me. I've been looking to chase this down for many years. Even an early pressing has just eluded me for whatever reason. I don't need to talk about the music, but that was a big one. That was probably, could be my highlight of the month in terms of pickups. This was a birthday present to myself. Evan Parker, Derek Bailey, and Han Benink, Topography of the Lungs. This is a free jazz record on the Incus label. This is the first pressings go for a stupid amount, but this is the second US pressing. Even the reissues are very expensive on Incus. Have I talked about this before? No, I don't think I have. It's weird. It's one of the first examples of where these sort of guys have learnt, especially from a European sense, learnt to play off in their own direction, but keep everything like in its own bubble. I don't know how to describe it. It's like they're all playing together, but they're all playing separately. Like they're not going off and doing solos. Everyone's like pushing it as far as they can within, like, imagine like a circle, and the three of them are in the middle, and they're all pushing out as far as they can go, but they're purposely keeping it within the circle. This is my very abstract way of describing what this is. And it's like, I don't know, it's like an exercise. It's like they could go absolutely far out crazy, but it's like restraint. But it's not restraint in terms of quiet and minimalism. It's very hard to describe it, but that's what I imagine when I'm hearing this. It's like, yeah, that's all I can say. They're all squeezing. You can hear they're squeezing the sounds out of their instruments. I feel like Derek Bailey is just doing all sorts of weird shit with his guitar, but he's not like blasting your face off. They're all just quietly pushing away. Yeah, for me this is a cornerstone experimental jazz record. I've been wanting it for years. This came out in 1977. Is that right? It did, 1977, there you go. It's quite late. Later than I thought it was. Okay, let's talk about this one, the record. I think this is been doing the rounds in the VC a lot. This is the Blameful Isles. Hey Daniel, hope you're doing well. I know you're probably keen to see what my thoughts are on this. I really like this record. I am really happy with it. For me personally, I think it's a massive step up from the last record. It's like a more 3D, more colourful, more expansive sound. It's really cool. It sounds great. We've got a wonderful poem by our very own Chris Cole in here. The first sort of the first record and a bit the first half of the second record is almost like a tribute, or this is what I'm hearing. I don't know. I hear a tribute to your Pharoah Sanders and definitely John Coltrane. There's a sample used, and I hear bits of Don Cherry mixed together. There's not gospel, but there's lots of soulful background singing, you know, that sort of reminds me of bits of like Kamasi Washington's The Epic in terms of that big sound, or maybe more like Billy Harper, really in that deep jazz sound, and you know, bits of world elements mixed in. But to me, it kind of reminds me of what the Kamasi Washington thing was doing. Different though, really different. Some of the tracks have a really nice groove, and then, you know, in the bass running through it, which is cool. But I think the stuff that really excites me is the stuff on the second disc, which ends up really stretching out, and it's more like a really spacey, laid-back vibe. There's less saxophones and more electronics, and that's where, for me, it gets really interesting. To the point where the last track on the record really blew me away. I think that's where it's at. For me, that's the stuff that kept me really interested in it. I was really impressed with the stuff where you know, the band, I suppose, really sort of entered a spacey zone, or it felt very relaxed. It felt a lot more organic. It felt different. It felt new, which I think is really exciting. I mean, especially for me, it felt fresh for me. Probably because it's a different sound. I don't know how to describe it. It's they're different sounds. I was like, oh, it's you know, the instruments that are going on really cool. Yeah, that's my thought. Anyway, yeah, this is really enjoyable. As I said before, the first disc is really great, but the second for me is where it really shines. I think it's the best Blameful Isles release to date. There you go. I just want to say thank you so much to Daniel for putting this out. Like, it's amazing that you have, and you can tell that you just have such raw talent, and you've got so many years ahead of you to hone it. And I sense there's going to be big things coming for you in the future musically, because you know, this is right up there, and you're so young, and you've obviously got an ear and a talent for what you do, and I can tell compositionally this stuff is really working for you now. It sounds great. It sounds really great. It's, you know, for me, the two UK jazz records and that have been on high rotation the past couple of weeks. Okay, alright. Caius, moving on to completely differently to some stoner rock. This is And the Circus Leaves Town. This is a reissue from, I think, 2005, came out in 1999. I won't talk about this too much. Stoner rock, I suppose. The originators, Caius. I think we've got some New Zealand stuff to finish it off. These two records were a gift from my friend that owns this record label. This is Maxine Funker Felt on Epic Sweep. So this was a gift which I absolutely treasure. This is a wonderful record that's quite hard to find these days now. I think it was originally pressed down to 100. Maxine is the wife of Alistair Galbraith, who is an experimental musician who's quite well renowned globally. This is like a really quiet, beautiful, folk, atmospheric record. Lots of weird instruments going on in the background, lots of like tapping and dripping and strange things. Weird lyrics, feels really intimate. It's a really beautiful recording. It's hard to describe what it's like, but listen to it online. It's really great. Yeah, I think what adds to this is just the strangeness of it's just full of ambience. That's how I'm going to describe it. This is another one on the label Epic Sweep, which is completely a flip of that. It's just a absolute barrage of noise. It's like an overload of sound effects. It just sounds like explosions of color going off for ages. It took me the first side to understand, you know, get my ears adjusted to what was going on, and then the second side hit me and I got it. It was great. It blew me away. But it's hard. It's a hard listen. I need to revisit side one, knowing what I'm getting in for, because it only started to click around the second side. Okay, 3 to go. What do we got here? Okay, cool. This is local band Maidens. This is Perfect Body that came out, I think, 2017. There we go. This is, I guess, post-punk. These guys are on Flying Nun. This is a record that took a while to click with me, but it's finally clicked and I really enjoy it. This is on Satsuma coloured vinyl. The last 2 tracks, I think, Give It Up and Fade, are the best by far on the record. I love this. This is on Flying Nun Records. I guess, yeah, it's just, they're one of those bands where I think, for me, live, they are like 20 times better, and they just have, you know, if the next record, if they can capture that dynamic powerness on the record, that'd do really well. Yeah, post-punk, female vocals. It's so hard to describe. Maybe someone like Savages, but a bit more fluid and cleaner. It's a good record. I've been appreciating it a lot more lately than I had last year when it came out. It's great. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. I think it's a massive grower, and I think in sort of like, you know, 5 or 10 years time, people will say, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the, you know, this record has been described as the new direction for Flying Nun, of where they can see it heading, how they can see the sound evolving. I mean, they're obviously super talented in what they're doing, and compositionally, they know what they're doing. Yeah, there we go. So this is Perfect Body by Maidens. Shout out to my friend Ezra. I don't know if you watch my videos. Ezra is someone who he's the partner of Gussie here. Ezra makes a lot of music videos for local bands. He's a massive part of the scene here in Wellington. Works so hard for that sort of stuff, and he's always up at the local record store here hanging out. So it's really cool to have someone like that putting such effort into to New Zealand music. Anyway, alright, what am I saying? 2 more to go. This is Death and the Maiden, Wisteria. This came out last month. This is like a dark post-punk, dark wave thing with female vocals. It's think of like Chelsea Wolfe, I suppose, but a lot more focused on electronics and driving rhythms. A really good record. This is, I think, almost better than their first one. Please check this out on YouTube. This is on Fish Rider Records. Yeah. Really wonderful. Death and the Maiden, Wisteria. Alright, we're almost there. This is Trinity Roots, True. I feel like I'm rushing now, but this is a record that I'm so happy they reissued this. This is a jazzy, dubby, post-rock. Like, I hear bits of talk in here mixed with dub. For me, this is like an unheralded masterpiece of New Zealand music. People talk about New Zealand masterpieces, and they always say the same things. But to me, this record here, True, is just absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I hear talk. I hear Spirit of Eden in here. I hear dub music. I hear wonderful, sad, soulful Maori singing or Pacific Island singing. I hear traditional leaning instruments. I hear space. I hear the sound of New Zealand. I hear the field recordings. Absolutely great. They've done this in a reissue in a 2LP gatefold with bonus tracks on the side. Yeah, this could be my favourite release of this year. In fact, it probably is going to be. Trinity Roots, True. 2018, originally came out in 2000. There you go. Hopefully, that's probably going to be hitting about 30 or 40 minutes, I think. But we got through it. So thanks for watching. I'm going to go enjoy my Sunday. I'll see you guys later. Cheers.